Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus, SUV Talk. Fans of the channel know I'm out shopping for a pickup currently. Yes, I'm going to buy one as an automotive journalist for the last, I'm in like decade or so. I've driven a lot of trucks. I get a lot of trucks in the driveway, but I really want to buy a new truck. I want to live with it for a year. I want to tow with it. I want to experience ownership of this truck. And so as I've been shopping, I'll do hopefully I remember to put a playlist link above. There's a whole playlist of truck shopping videos I've been doing, and I'll probably put it at the end too. But I'm trying to do all the different facets of buying a truck. I've talked about resale value, I've talked about dependability, and I've talked about my business reasons for buying certain trucks for the others. For example, I'm not going to buy a Nissan Titan. While I like the truck, I think it's a solid truck, there just isn't enough interest in the channel. And the same thing with like a Toyota Tundra or Chevy Silverado. The new Tundra is right on the corner. It doesn't make sense to buy it right now, and the Silverado interior will be out next year. And since this is a yearly purchase for me, because I'll be doing this next year too, it's going to be a little bit different. My buying experience will be a little bit different. My reasons for buying a little bit different. But I'm hoping for you, the average Joe, that you get something out of this. You can look at my depreciation kind of resale value numbers, the reliability numbers. You can kind of take all these factors in, and maybe it's going to help you make an informed buying decision. So I'm sharing everything. I'm going to do in this video, I'm going to talk to you about first year of owning a new truck. Like, should you buy the first model year? There's always a big question out there. I'll talk about total cost of ownership in a future video. I'm going to do my insurance and tell you about insurance differences. Then I'm going to go out shopping because my local dealerships here, they may not have everything I want. And so while I want to buy local, I got to be cognizant of looking around elsewhere and looking for incentives. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So hopefully you subscribe, stick around. But like I said, in this video, let's talk about the first model year of a truck. You hear the adage all the time, don't buy the first year, because let them work out the kinks first. Always let them work out the kinks in that first year, because new trucks are totally new and you got to work out those kinks. And I always find this a little odd, because if people don't buy the first year of the truck, then they can't work out the kinks because nobody owns a truck. So how does that work? Maybe aliens drive the truck around. I don't know. It's kind of strange. And I also thought, is it true? We hear a lot of stuff in this world about sayings and truths and false news and all this kind of crud going on. But I thought the data doesn't lie. So what I did was I did a whole afternoon of deep dive. I went and looked at the first model year changeover. So like the Chevy Silverado changed over in 2019. The Ram 1500 changed over in 2019. I looked at that versus the prior year and the year after that. I looked at recalls. I looked at issues in those trucks. And then I went back in time. I thought, I'm really looking at a Ford right now for many different reasons. Ram's like really right there too. But anyways, I'm looking at both of them pretty closely. I thought, Ford made a change in 2015, probably the most significant change in full-size trucks in a generation. That truck went to aluminum body panels. It had a new frame. It had a new 2.7-liter EcoBoost engine, had a new interior, had new electronics. I mean, the truck was really a lot of changes happened in that truck. I thought, let's start with that truck. Let's focus on that. If you want to look at Chevy and Ram numbers, well, it's on the website. I'll put a link down below. Go check it out. It's kind of interesting. There's a lot of really going on with that kind of post on the website. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera on. I'm going to show you the article I put out, and let's talk about some of these issues that happened in that 2015 Ford F150 and whether or not you should buy a first year of a model year of a pickup truck, because I think that was really interesting to me. I'm betting your thing is interesting as well. Okay, let's go to the website, pickuptrucktalk.com. Used to be a podcast, pickup trucks, what we call them in the area. It all kind of works together, trust me. So I did a story right here on new pickup trucks, and should buy the first new model year. It's pretty interesting information I found. And so I'm going to put a link down below in the comments, but I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to skip the Chevy and the Ram informations at the end. So I'm sorry, you have to go to the website, check the information out. But I want to focus on the F-150 because that's what I'm going to buy, and it's also the newest full redesign, as they say, next generation truck that's come out. So this is the first year of the next generation. And what I did was I looked back at the 2015 model year, because that's the last time we had a big changeover. If you recall, in 2015, we had new aluminum body panels, we had new frame, we had new interior, we had new changes to 2.7-liter EcoBoost. Well, actually changes to the frame. We have a lot of high-strength steel now. The frame, that's changing the frame. So that many changes should equal big recalls, right? Well, that's what I thought too. But if you look at information, and I went to NHTSA.org, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.org. They have a complaints kind of segment of the website, and I also was in carcomplaints.com. Is that I looked at just recalls. So in 2014 model year, this is the year before the big changeover, they had 6 recalls. In 2015, they had 12 recalls. And in 2016, they had 11 recalls. And so you can see a little bit of a spike increase, like a doubling in 2015, and then it goes a little bit down in 2016. So it's interesting. They've had a new model year. They had some changes and some recalls, but even in the older model year, they had some recalls. So something's going on here. Now, I looked at what was going on with the 2015, 2014, 2016. This is complaints, official complaints on NHTSA.gov. Now, keep in mind that Ford sells 900,000 trucks a year, and in the F-150, I figure they sell about 600,000, somewhere in that range. So these complaint numbers are actually pretty low in comparison, but they're there. So if you look at 2014, 15, and 16, you see brakes are a big concern, which is kind of strange. Then you have engine concerns, which naturally is always going to happen. You're always going to have some engine concerns. There's always going to be a lemon out there somewhere. Exterior accessory problems and body and paint problems, which you would expect in a new truck, aluminum, a little bit different, how they paint it, how they put it together. We have drivetrain, then we have some steering electrical issues. So overall, the big overarching issue is brakes, which is strange in a new truck to have brakes. And so what's the deal? I looked at information, and what it turned out to be was there was a faulty, and I'll make this a little bigger on the screen, there was a faulty master brake cylinder on 3.5 liter EcoBoost powered trucks, those specifically trucks. That was for all 3 model years, and Ford issued a master cylinder recall for 2014, 2017 models to fix this issue. So basically the master cylinder, which is where the brake fluid is stored, had a leak that was leaking out and causing the brakes to become mush. And mush means soft, and because you have the fluid, if you know how brakes work, the fluid goes, and anyways. So that was the issue. But what's interesting here, and it's interesting for our discussion right now, is that master brake cylinder occurred over 3 model years, or actually 4 model years. It occurred over the changeover. So even though the 2015 model was next generation and a new truck, new ground up truck like Ford likes to claim, the master brake cylinder was the same in 14, 15, 16, and 17. That part didn't change. This means the new edition had nothing to do with recall. The problems were prior generations. And so when I looked at the information as far as, and this, I don't know why my post not updating, but I have new information on this post, which is probably, I can do it. Sorry, I had to update the post. I had some information wasn't showing up. But looking at the information, we see that the master cylinder recall had nothing to do with the model year change. Now, another thing that was a big part of that story was aluminum body panels. Like I told you, aluminum body panels, there was memes about it, jokes about it. People were talking about a beer can. I mean, a lot of stuff going on. And looking back now, of the course of 5 years now, we can see that the repair costs, well, they didn't turn out to be that big issue. I remember writing tons of stories about this truck and all the repair costs back in the day. Lots of fear around this. And there was a recent study, which I guess it came out, I'm going to say recent, was last May of last year, that the repair cost of aluminum F-150 came in much lower than expected. And how can that be? Well, the F-150 is built and was designed in a way to replace body panels. Now, I've been restoring a 66 Chevy C10. I can tell you that I was doing the body work and I was pulling out dents and doing Bondo and this, whatever. And that's a load of garbage. That was a ridiculous amount of labor involved. And I found out, especially on the doors, I was working on the door, I can buy a whole new door skin for $89 versus sitting all the time to get the door just perfect. And you just fold it out and push it in and push it on. I mean, you talk about major savings. I bought new fenders. I didn't replace the fenders. I didn't work on the fenders. I just bought new fenders. I bought new bed sides. I mean, I'm going to buy a new roof for it and just put the new roof on it. It's so much easier to buy new panels and weld them on than it is to do all the body work to get it straight. So I think the same thing happening now with F-150, and I've talked to some repair shops out there that there are still some of those that still want to do the body work and pull out dents, stuff like that. But a lot of repair shops I know are like, we'll just paint it close, make it match best we can, and bolt it on. I mean, because the cost is so much difference there these days from an insurance standpoint. So it's a really interesting study. And again, I'll link to it here in the article. The other big thing that happened with this truck, and you remember back in the day, was the 3.5 liter V6 EcoBoost was getting water in the charged air cooler. This charged air cooler would get some condensation that would build up in the bottom, suck the water in the engine, and cause a power loss. Limp mode would happen. These guys would drive on the interstate. The truck would go down 20 miles an hour. They'd have to pull over real fast, hit the brakes. And that's part of the engine issues or some of the things that people have issues with this EcoBoost. But that happened in all pre-2015 models. So that means when a 2.7 liter came out, it was kind of vetted through. And so that new 2.7 didn't have the same issues the 3.5 had because Ford had done those issues. And I haven't heard diddly squat into 2.7 issue at all. And now we have a 3-liter diesel that came out a couple years afterwards. We haven't heard any issues there either. So big issues. So that's interesting there that the engine had that thing going on, but it wasn't that big of a concern. Besides the engine issue, we have the other big issue, which is the 10-speed transmission on the Ford F-50s. Now, I did a story, or actually my managing editor Jill did a story on the reliability issues of the F-150 pickup, and we found quite a bit of issues with transmissions. And what I'm thinking is the 2016 had a recall of 150,000 vehicles for the transmission issues. And I think that's what the people are finding for the engine on nhtsa.gov. A lot of times you click on the link in those stories, and really it's an issue with the transmission, not the engine, just misdiagnosed with the consumer, just pointing at the wrong thing. But there has been a lot of issues with transmissions and Ford transmissions. Chevy's transmissions has some similar issues too. The 8-speed, in this case, the Ford 6-speed has some issues, and now the 10-speed has been reported to have some issues. Now, the 10-speed, there's a corresponding lawsuit about 10-speed. People think it's around rough shifts and clanking sounds. There's been some lawsuits. The lawsuits basically related to the previous recall that didn't fix the issue. And there's lots of concerns with the 10-speed going on. Now, what's interesting here is, again, for our discussion, this is 2017 through 2020 model years. 2021 is going to use the same transmission. So it's not that I shouldn't buy a new first-year truck. It's that this is a known issue that's been impacting some owners. I want to be very clear. Some owners have had this issue, and it's moving forward in different model years. And so keep in mind, this isn't like it's, oh my gosh, don't buy this truck at all. The transmission's terrible, which you'll see on some comments below or some forums and things. Just realize that there has been an issue with this, and every truck has an issue here and there with certain things. And Ford's working, I know Ford's working on this issue, because if their engineers are anything like any of the other brands' engineers, they're working on this. They're listening to consumers. They're going out to the dealerships. They're driving these models that have these problems. And so it's not like it's every Ford truck. It's that there are certain trucks that have this problem. So, but again, for our story here in the video here, it's all about the first year of the model. This same transmission has been used many times. And so what are we really talking about here? We're talking about the new fold-down shifter, right? So if I bought the truck with a higher trim level, I have a new fold-down shifter. Could be concerned. I have reclining front seats. So if I bought the higher trim level reclining front seats, maybe I have an issue there. I'm talking about a new grille and new lights. Come on, probably won't be any issues there. We're talking about, a new screen. So they have a new 12-inch horizontal screen. So if you get the XLT, the 302A package, I believe, you get the bigger screen. But all the other trucks use the same old screen that they've always had. And if you get the higher trims, I think it's limited and platinum, get them standard. Lariat may be somewhere in there as well. So if you do that, you have the bigger screen. So, I'm really having... Now, there's also a concern about the generator in the back. As you can see, this guy's using a saw. Now, this is a generator off the battery. There's basically just a conversion there from inverter to generator. So I'm not too concerned about that. We've had plugs in the back before. Just a different way they're running the electrical to this back plug to create more of a generator, more of a clean power versus like a dirty power that comes from inverter. Now, there also could be concerns about the hybrid version of the F-150, but this isn't new. The Explorer last year had a hybrid. You can see it's towing in the video right now. The Escape has one. The Fusion has one. So while this is new for the F-150, it's not a new engine technology for Ford. They've done this for the last couple of years. A handful of issues that cause some concerns on the first generation. The screen could have some issues, which it typically happens. And usually it's a software fix. So we know that. Our phones update apps, which I'm talking to you on the phone. The computers update apps. That stuff happens. I could be looking at a power seat failure, which, that feasibly could happen. I'm sure Ford's tested that seat up pretty well. But you never know. Part suppliers make up a large portion of trucks. Just because it has a Ford badge on the front doesn't mean it's everything built in the truck by Ford. It's assembled by Ford line workers, but a lot of them come from parts. That's where TFL had an issue with the 7.3-liter Godzilla with the plug wires. Well, that's a supplier issue. The same issue with the master cylinder brake recall. That's a supplier issue. So suppliers are always changing up parts too. So that's something you always got to keep in mind, is that while you're buying a brand new truck that should be the new generation, like I said, some of those parts have been used elsewhere. So I think it's some truth to that adage of you shouldn't buy a new truck that have new kinks worked out. But I think it deals more with keeping an eye on powertrain stuff or big changes or just understanding what's really new with the model year truck versus the prior model year truck, and what's you getting. So like the trim I'll probably end up buying won't have the fold down shifter, and I probably won't have the reclined seats because I think they're kind of pointless. I don't have a reason for them. I'm not going to go sleep in my truck anytime soon. So, I mean, for me, it's not that big of an issue. And the 12-inch screen, if it doesn't work and they have a software fix, fine. They've had a rear backup camera issue on some of the 2020 models. Again, it's a cord issue from the supplier. I mean, that's going to be a couple trips to the dealership or a trip to the dealership to get that fixed. So, I mean, I understand the hesitation on that stuff, but you know, I'm anticipating having a little more recalls for that first generation truck, just for little hiccups on the new things and maybe an old part. I mean, but to me, that's the same with any new truck you're going to buy. There's always going to be some sort of issues. And recalls used to be all about the quality was based on recalls. When Chevy did their ignition switch recall and they recalled everything, they recalled stuff for a bolt not being torqued down quite right. I mean, they went over the moon in recalls. I just think, slow down. I'm going to go to the dealer. I'm going to have to go to the dealer when I buy this new truck. That's going to happen. I'm going to be the dealer for recalls. That's what's going to happen. Just accept that because I know that's going to happen. Do I like it? No. Do I wish it was straight from factory perfect? Yes. Are trucks built that way? Yes, from factory perfect. Is that the reality of things? Hell no. Trucks have become so complex, there's going to be some recalls. There's going to be some stuff. What's cool about it, though, is this new Ford has over-the-air updates. And so maybe I don't go to dealers much. Maybe if like a software issue with, say, the backup camera, the screen, maybe you can just get over-the-air update. Could be interesting. So there you go. There's my thoughts on whether or not you should buy a first-year truck. I hope that was helpful to give you some background information. I guess, like I said, in conclusion, sort of. The adage sort of works depending on what's been changed and knowing what's going on and being a smart consumer, educated consumer, watching this video and seeing what's going on with the Ford. Now, again, website has more information to it, and send me some more. I'm always updating the story as I learn more. I love diving deep into stuff, so I'm always learning more. So if you've got ideas, send it to me. Tim@pickuptrucktalk.com. Check this other video out over here. It should be all about the shopping series from Truck Shopping. I'll put all the videos I'm doing in this series. Really good stuff. Website down below. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you down the road.